Hi, my name is Deanna and welcome to my first sketchbook tour. So if you happen to follow me on any other platforms like Instagram and TikTok, or even here for shorts, you'll know that I post a lot of short form content of my art, but I don't really have anywhere that's like long form tours of any of my sketchbooks. I have a couple like short little like 1-minute videos on TikTok, but sketchbooks are kind of my entire thing, and so I just thought it would be nice to maybe have like a full proper tour of each of my books, I guess, somewhere. So yeah, this is going to be the start of that. This is the first sketchbook that I ever finished. I had other sketchbooks before this in like middle and high school, but this sketchbook from like March 2016 to July 2017 was the first one where I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually finish this book. Like, I'm gonna commit to completing every page. So yeah, I do sketchbooking like a little bit weird and I guess wrong. I don't know. Yeah, I try to have every page be a fully finished page. Yeah, I started this book when I was 18, finished it either when I was 19 or I had just turned 20, either one, whatever. It was with me through the end of my freshman year of university. It was with me on my first trip to Korea. I went with one of my friends for a month in the summer 2016. It was with me when I got my first part-time job. So a lot of firsts. Yeah, and I don't know, I guess we'll just get into it. Sorry, like really awkward. And these stickers are all stickers that I bought from that trip to Korea. So it's like a bunch of cacao characters and then Gudetama. I bought like a Gudetama set. Starting off, I always like to start each of my books with some sort of quote or like song lyrics, something like that. So this was one of my favorite Bible verses at the time. So started it on March 11th, 2016. And this is food coloring, watered down food coloring. And then this one is done with watercolors and then pen on top, obviously. And I'll probably leave like a list in the description of all the different like supplies that I use. So just so you can see, just in case you're like, hey, I'm curious. But these are two of my first OCs that I ever had. They're a couple. They are originally like from a more medieval type story, I guess. But I draw them a lot in like a more modern setting. So that's what this is. And then this one was to reference that like medieval-ish story. Like we had a lot of references to like chess pieces, even though none of us play chess. So it was a story that I made with my two besties. So yeah, this one was in marker at the time, I think Prismacolor markers. And then this was Prismacolor colored pencils. These are, I was really obsessed with my Converse back in the day. I can't wear them anymore because they're not comfortable enough for my feet. But these are my high tops done in graphite. I really don't like working in graphite, but I try to mix it in here and there in my sketchbooks because I like the variety of mediums. This is me drawing my Wii U because I was a million years late to getting one. I got one in 2016 on my spring break. So yeah, this is a kind of a redraw of something that I did in high school. I took AP art in high school, so I have some of my pieces from my breadth and my concentration that I liked the ideas but not the execution, so I redid them in a couple different sketchbooks. I have a lot of them in this book that are like me revisiting those ideas, wasting time, wasting paper or whatever. So yeah, this is just some like nonsense. But oh, and the quote in the background of this says, you are a slave to whatever controls you. And I think this was ballpoint pen, Sharpie pen for the red, and then like splotches of food coloring, watered down food coloring, and this is marker again, Prismacolor markers. This is another Prismacolor colored pencil drawing. So this was also one of my high school projects that I ended up revisiting. This one, just like a weird character floating thing with some flowers on it. This one's in a mix of markers and colored pencil, like Crayola colored pencils. Because at the time I had really limited marker colors, and so yeah, I would kind of mix them kind of. These are taped in also, these flowers. I do a lot of that, like this kind of 2D-ish, I don't know. Not 2D, 3D, whatever. This is a drawing of my room. So at the time I didn't have a desk to sit at for drawing, so I would sit on my bed and have my laptop, and then I would have my sketchbook in front of me and I would just sit and draw. This stuff like on the shelves and the walls is not like 100% accurate, but the layout of like my bed, my dresser, closet, lamp, like that is accurate. So These were with Faber-Castell pens, I think. I believe so, which are like my favorite pens ever to use. I love them. This is another one of my early OCs. She is taped in. This background was done in watered down food coloring, and then the like weird gem crystal things, and then her were Crayola colored pencils. Whoop. This is another high school redo. Again, my concentration one of the years had to do with like history, like doing designs for different things in history, and I had a lot of them specific to Korea because at that time I was like really interested in Korea. So yeah, these two are somewhat of a reference to that, like this one more so than this one, but these are marker and then Sharpie pens. Yes, I believe so. Oh, I love this one. This is a like spread dedicated to a song that I liked at the time, and also my church's youth group was called Thrive, and so it was kind of like a, oh yay. And this is, I did the whole spread background in watercolors. I think I was using like Artist Loft or something at the time. It was a more cheap, kind of chalky, textured watercolor. And I left the trees, like the tops of the trees with that watercolor texture, so it like, this feels different to the rest of this, because everything else I went over in Crayola colored pencils. So, and then I had my white gel pen at the time that I was like really obsessed with, so that's what that is. There's like weird, I don't know if it will even show up on camera, but there's like weird splatter textures as well, because when I was doing the watercolor underneath, I did some like water splotches, so then when I colored over it, like some of that texture stayed there. Woo! Okay, this is a doodle dedicated to a Korean song I liked at the time, really old Korean song. Well, not super old, but like super early 2000s, late 2000s, early 2010s is what I meant to say, but anyways. And then this one is also dedicated somewhat to an old K-pop song, also kind of a mix with a Vocaloid song. These might have been, I can't tell by the texture if this was a ballpoint pen or if this was a different artist brand, because I use Faber-Castell all the time now, but at the time I had tried others that I ended up not being as big of a fan of, but anyways. And yeah, this background, once again, watered down food coloring. That was a thing that I would do all the time in these old books. I learned it from like a friend in high school, and I don't know, I just love how vibrant the colors come out, especially if you're used to using like cheaper watercolors. The food coloring will come out so much more vibrant. Ice creams, this is like, I have this whole thing where I will draw like desserts and treats and stuff, and I will put it under this name like Joyful. It's like sometimes a brand, sometimes it's like a shop, like an ice cream shop or a cake shop or something, I don't know. So that's what this is. And then since 97, because I was born in 97. And then this is a still life, kind of still life, because I drew my, like my alarm clock thingy was actually there, and then my dresser, like obviously, or my nightstand was accurate, but everything else is just like me adding it in and just being like, whatever, it's, yeah. Oh, I love this. Okay, this kind of, this was inspired by a mix of like Vocaloid songs and then the song Toy by Block B. And kind of in this sketchbook, I developed this like really big obsession with sort of a handmade aesthetic, like doll aesthetic, kind of, you know, those kinds of things. And so I drew my little character as a kind of handmade doll, and I put buttons and different art supplies around her. And then this one I did kind of to match it. I love sunflowers, they're like my favorite flower. And I don't know how well you can see it, but the writing here is actually stitched in, which that's another thing that I started doing a lot of throughout my sketchbooks. I haven't done it in a while actually, but up until what, like the 7th book, I think? 7 or 8. Out of my current 12, I have done this like stitching thing. So again, it's like watered down food coloring and then markers for a lot of these details. My two girlies together, and they are taped in. This is also taped in. So Crayola colored pencil, marker, watercolor, and then like my white gel pen. And then this one is in pen. This is another drawing of my room, kind of like facing my bed, if that makes sense. So the other one was like me sitting on my bed facing my room, and then this one is like standing next to my bed facing like the top of my bed. And this is like really cringe. Once again, this all is kind of like added in for the most part. but this was like maybe a month or two before I was going to Korea, so yeah, I was getting really excited. So I just added a bunch of like references and stuff for like Korean songs that I liked at the time. This is a conjugation table for some Korean verbs. At the time I had like a Korean 100 most used verbs or something, like PDF. And so I transferred it into my sketchbook, and then this one, I drawn this first. So that's where they're kind of like, whatever. At the time, my sister and I were really obsessed with one of the Harvest Moon games, and the guy that I always married in that game was the baker, and one of his gifts that he gives you when you're like courting him, I don't know, like when you're like going after him, I guess, he gives you a slice of orange cake, and he's like, all girls love cake, so I knew you'd love this. And I was like, slay bestie, you're right, I'm gonna draw it. So yeah, this is one of my most favorite spreads in the sketchbook. It's really weird, but I don't know, I just like really like it. This was me painting with watercolor and journaling in the background of just like stuff that I was kind of thinking about and a little frustrated about, and then I doodled with my one of my pink Sharpie pens on top of it, like a bunch of flowers, and then I went back over with my black brush pen and like outlined the flowers, and they're like really pointy and weird, but I don't know, I just really like how it came out. This one is like, I don't know, I came up with this in class. It's like weird floating wolf thing. I don't even know. But this one was done in watercolor colored pencil because I had a couple that was given to me, I think for Christmas, like the previous Christmas or something. And so I was trying them out, and I did the entire thing in that first and then doodled over everything else with pen except for the wolf so that he would stand out. And it's really weird and doesn't make sense, but I do really like it. So one of my girlies again, I draw my OCs all the time. I have 8 right now. Back during this book, I like in the beginning had 3, and then by the end I think I had 6. So I was like developing them over time. But yeah, I love drawing my blue-haired girly. So this is once again back to that kind of handmade aesthetic. This was done in marker, writing some lyrics in the background, all of that. And then this one, I was like, at the time had different art things saved on Pinterest, and at the time it was like all these different like ideas for doodles, I guess, and like Zentangles and mandalas and all that. So this was kind of my take on that. And I remember this is how limited my colors were in markers at the time. It is not like that anymore. I used all of my markers in this drawing, and then that's why the colors in this one are wacky, because I wanted them to kind of match and be whatever. This ends up being a series in this sketchbook. I have a couple different things that I do as like a series, but I end up doing 3 other drawings that are different variations of this. So yeah, this is a pen drawing, ballpoint pen drawing of one of my cats. She didn't look like this. This is me getting lazy with the patterning, but I had taken a picture of her sleeping on my bed. And I remember I did this in one of the afternoons in our Airbnb in Korea, because I was like, it'll keep me busy, and it did. So, and then this one is food coloring for the background, and then I had this newspaper that I had saved from like years prior when my family went to Chinatown in San Francisco, and we had like a couple things we had bought that they had wrapped in newspaper, and so I had kept it. So I cut it out in different shapes, kind of doodled it on top and taped it in, and I still really like this spread as well. Fun, cute, and quirky. Phone doodle, this is like how you say hello on the phone in Korean. And then this was one of my friends. It was like an inside joke that we all had at the time. So once again, I really hate graphite, but I try to use it whenever I can because I like the variety. Oh, I like the variety. Okay. This is another recreation of something I did in high school. It's like basically the same, except I did writing in the background. So this is food coloring, and then the original project was writing about like the creation of Hangul, the Korean alphabet, but I ended up just recreating this whole part, and then in the background I kind of like journaled, I guess, a little bit about my time in Korea for that year. So very fun. This is watercolor and Prismacolor colored pencil mixed together, and then my white gel pen on top because again I'm obsessed. These guys are really wonky, but I still really like how this page came out. I like the texture that the watercolor has in the background. And I did some lyrics to a song. I think this was Thunderstruck by Owl City. And then this is also a redo of something I did in high school, but this was a freshman year painting, so not AP art. where I like redid a flower that I had painted, and the painting was like really, really ugly. But this started another trend for me where I like doing this kind of lineless style of like flowers. Like I like using my markers to do drawings that don't have line art, if that makes sense. I don't know. So this has led to now I'm doing like a US State Flowers sketchbook. And I'm like, wow, it originated from this page. How exciting. Once again, cupcakes, we're referencing kind of that joyful type deal, whatever. I think this was a reference from a picture that I took at a little like cupcake shop that I went to with some friends not a couple years ago, whoops, it was like 8 years ago, whatever, 8 or 9 years ago. And then this is again like more journaling and then doing like flowers on top. These times they were, oh my gosh, this time they were taped in, so I drew them on a separate page and I colored them with markers and then taped them in. And this was like a mix of lyrics and journaling, so yeah, okay. Ooh, this is a drawing of my Airbnb that I stayed in with my bestie when we went to Korea the first time. And so it was really small, honestly. So it was like, this was my bed, and then she had like a trundle beneath it, and everything was like really, really close together. There was like a super tiny kitchen over here and then a door. And then this was to the bathroom. So it was really, really cramped for 2 people with our luggage, but this like looks really accurate to how it looked. So good job for me. I am an accurate queen. Also, these were not really here, by the way. We were not being disrespectful foreigners. We did have the shoes by the door. I just like fake added these in to like fill the space. So also we were not wearing flip-flops walking around, so that's like not a good idea, honestly. You need to wear sneakers. But anyways, this is a marker drawing based off of Wildwoods, I think it's called, one of the maps in Mario Kart 8, because I was very obsessively playing it at the time and kind of still am. But yeah, some hands. I'm not good at drawing hands, so I try to, like, once a sketchbook, do some sort of like hand drawing practice thing, whatever, in graphite, because, you know, whatever. I think I've done pen recently though, so we switched it up a little bit. And then this is just some nail polish. My sister and I owned like a lot of nail polish at the time, so I just took a bunch of them out and laid them out in kind of this composition, and then drew them and doodled this like weird city. I don't know, kind of supposed to be like an advertisement type deal almost, but it's ugly. But anyways, it's fine. It's fine. This is based off of the Deep Sea Girl Vocaloid song, and this is like specifically the pose based off of the figure of like Miku from that song. So I drew her, and you know, she's got issues, but whatever. I tried my best. And then I decided to next to it do kind of like watercolor in the background. I think this is watercolor, and I wrote the English translation of the song in the background, and then I doodled these things like the circles and the wave thingy and all that on a separate page, and then cut them out and taped them in. So once again, back to that whole like handmade, hand sewn kind of aesthetic. I did actually own this box at that point. I don't know why. I was like weird hoarder. I kind of still am. But so I like took the box and set it in front of me, and I like drew it, like looking at it and drawing it, and then I added kind of everything else around it. The scissors are a little bit wonky, but I still really, really like this drawing. I did it with Crayola colored pencils and then inking on top, which I never recommend, because it literally, depending on the pen you're using, does not work, and it takes like a million years to do. But oh sorry, there's like a weird glare on it, but I do like the outcome. So, you know, this was me testing out. I got a new set of watercolors, I think for my birthday. Was it my birthday? Maybe it was Christmas. I can't remember. But I had gotten myself a Winsor Newton like little palette, watercolor palette, and I had bought some watercolor paper, because before this I've just been using like either drawing or mixed media paper. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get like some actual watercolor paper, oh my gosh, that I can like test this out on. But yeah, so I on a separate, like before taping it in, on the watercolor page, I did one of my running shoes and then just added all this nonsense in the background. And I feel like you can tell that I started to get lazy and just like gave up, whatever. Yeah, I'm not good at watercolors, so, but I feel like it's not too bad. I mean, it's whatever. The watercolor artists are gonna be like, girl, you thought. These two are based off of pictures that I took in Korea. So this one is at Gyeongbokgung on like our first day there, like first official day there. And I forget what this like pavilion thingy is called, but it's like really pretty. And so I took a picture of it. And then this is at Dongdaemun, like the gate, right? I think so. Yeah. Dongdaemun. And basically this was like at the end of our trip. So it's like beginning of our trip, end of our trip. And I was like, what if I drew them and like they're separate, but I like combined them. So I did the same like border thingy for both of them. And then I do this weird like swirly sky thing a lot for my pen drawings. I don't know why. Just like a thing that I developed a while ago. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna have like the sky connect them. It's like they're different, but the sky connects them. Very fun. So yeah, this actually, I kind of look at these and I'm like, huh, I don't like love them, but I'm also kind of shocked that I was able to do them at that time, if that makes sense. I do pen stuff all the time now, but my style has changed a little bit. Just again, like another weird doodle, whatever nonsense. And then this is once again continuing the doll aesthetic. So it's my main girl OC with the other girly and then her man, you know, these two. But so this was like based off of a Vocaloid song I remember, but yeah. This is a graphite drawing of a little lantern thingy that I bought in Insadong and brought back with us from Korea. And the alphabet was not like this on that lantern because it was much more of like traditional, like I guess how it was originally developed, but I was like, that's too complicated for me. I'm just gonna write the alphabet the way it is now. And then this is once again more journaling. This was lyrics though. So I did watercolor lyrics and then taped in flowers that are done in marker. And I don't know why I was like so obsessed with drawing pointy flowers back then. They're so pointy. Why are they like that? Oh my gosh. Oh, this one. Okay, so these are based off of Nendoroids. So I actually own Gumi and the Kagamines. And so I like set them in front of me and like practice drawing them from view. I think I ended up making up his pose, but these two I remember I had them at the time. So, and then I referenced images of Miku's. Luca's doesn't exist in like the V4, or at least it didn't at the time, but I referenced a pose from her, just like regular Nendoroid. And then Yes, I made up because I just was like, she's cute. So, and then I did like kind of the magical Mirai blocks, sparklies, whatever. And this is a continuation of that doodly thing that I said that I did like a million versions of. I honestly think this one is my favorite. I don't know, I just like how the black looks in contrast with the colors. Very fun. This is also kind of a little bit based off of a Mario Kart map. I was initially inspired by Moo Moo Meadows, and then I just kind of turned it into like its own thing, I guess. And then my bestie at the time was an art major, and she had taken like a graphic design, like text class, I think it was. And she was doing a lot of these drawings where she was like practicing with different fonts and all of that. And so I was like, oh, I want to do that too. So this is me wasting one of my watercolor pages. And I actually did the lettering, which I cannot believe looking back on that I actually did this, but I did the lettering with a brush and with black ink. So like black Indian ink, I think. So could never be me now. I would like barely be able to do this with a regular pen. So don't know what I was doing back then. This is inspired by bubble tea. We had bubble tea a couple times in Korea, and I'm not like a huge fan of tapioca, but I like the taste of the actual drinks. So I like when I draw. And then this is based off of a picture I think I took in Anguk or somewhere near either Anguk or like Jongno, somewhere near the palace. Yeah, just like a little street, little shopping street, cafe street. This is not 100% accurate, but you know, that's how it be. So this is kind of a continuation of this drawing. I don't consider them like perfectly, where is it? This one. This one was, this spread was inspired by this, but I don't consider this part of like the series, if that makes sense. So I did this drawing and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna have my 3 couples, because at this point I was developing some of my other characters. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do 1 spread per couple. So this will be the first couple and they're all gonna have like something stitched. That's like whatever. So yeah, this is food coloring. I did some splashes of markers in the background though, and then everything else is of course markers. And then this, I'm like slowly starting to add in more thick lines. This is like a staple of my art style now, is doing like a really thick line art. So this is where I slowly start like bringing that out more and more at this point in the sketchbook. Once again, more like newspaper doodles. So this is a ballpoint pen and then my white gel pen on top. There's like weird bleeding, but whatever. And then this is a drawing of like a tea set that my mom had gotten me for my birthday when we were in San Francisco at Chinatown. So yeah, I drew the pot. I don't know what you would call this, I guess. Yeah, the pot. And then one of the cups. And at the time I was doing like different apps for learning like words in Korean, and one of the words was barley tea in Korean, so I just added it in there, like, hey, there you go. So this is once again me doing Crayola colored pencils with pen on top, which is a nightmare and I don't recommend, but I do like how it looks. So my two girlies in marker cityscape. This is like I had like sketched her and I like put all the flowers in her hair, and then I was like, I'll just put other Miss Girly over here and I'll just like put the flowers on her shirt, but like as a print and not like 3D flowers. So like whatever. It was just kind of like a weird idea, but this is also not accurate to their heights. But anyways, I did really like doing this one. I like doing like the line art for the characters and then the background is lineless. I think that's really fun. This is based off of, I actually own this guy, the white one. These are stuffed animals that I got off of like a Japanese site that I would look at for like figures and stuff. But yeah, so I was like, I want something to sleep with because at the time I would like hug pillows, or I had like an old jacket hoodie thing that I would sometimes sleep with. I know, whatever. I just like, I sleep on my side. I like to hug things. So I ended up buying the white one, which I still sleep with to this day. It's like, he's 8 years old. He's my little boy. But I did this like We Bare Bears kind of inspired sketchbook page kind of deal. I don't know. And excuse if the Japanese is bad. I don't know Japanese. So I just copied this off of like the logo or something for them. And this is done in marker, obviously. And then this one is a graphite drawing where I'm like, it's not a still life, but it like kind of is. I like drew her. And then these are lanterns that I had in my room at the time. These like little strong lanterns that I drew, and everything else I just kind of added it and I was like, whatever. So this is definitely one of my more favorite graphite pages because I feel like here I'm starting to add a little bit more, like starting to go in darker, I guess. I don't know. Some of the other ones, this is a bad example, I guess, but some of the other graphite pages I'm not like a huge fan of because I feel like there's not like a ton of contrast. Maybe I'm more so thinking of the pen sketchbooks, like, I don't know, but I like this one. This is a little doodle page that the background is just a drawing paper with a wash of watercolor, and then I cut it out so like it's taped like here, if that makes sense. And I just did like a bunch of little random doodles on the page. I'm trying to remember, I think I did this on like a trip or something. Maybe not, I can't remember. Whatever, we were somewhere where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do like a bunch of doodling. And this is, yeah, it was ballpoint pen, not my fancy art pens, I don't think anyways. No, I'm like pretty sure that's ballpoint pen. And then this was like a pop art inspired self-portrait of me, but it like doesn't really look like me, like I don't know. And this was kind of also based off of something that I did for my concentration. Excuse me, oh my gosh. This is also kind of based on something that I did for my concentration senior year of high school for art class, like AP art. Oh, also this one was done in a mix of markers and colored pencil. I think I actually laid down markers for some of these, like my hair and like the shirt and the background, and then I went over it with Crayola colored pencils. This is another watercolor page that I'm kind of just like messing around with. I don't know, I like, my go-to is flowers. I love flowers, so like, you know. But yeah, my flowers are getting a little bit less pointy as we go on, maybe a little less pointy. And then this was like, I was really obsessed with Spring Day by BTS at the time. I wasn't a fan at that point, but I was like really obsessed with it, so that's just me writing I Miss You from that song. This is, so this was a figure from a game, and I don't even really remember what game it was. it's like an anime game. I can't remember, but there was a little like fox figure thing, like it was a coin bank that I had gotten for super cheap online because I thought he was cute. And so, and I don't have it anymore, so I don't even know how to like be like, hey, this is what he looked like, but whatever. Because he didn't look exactly like this. I took some liberties when I did this drawing, but that's what this was inspired by, was that little fox figure. And I tried to add different things to like make it kind of Japanese sort of. But I especially back then didn't know like a ton about Japanese culture, so if anything's wacky, I'm sorry about that. This is in markers, so as always, like markers are my go-to, to be honest. Pen doodle, this is like, so I had done this drawing first. Background, as always, is like watered down food coloring, and then like lyrics in the background, and then I taped these guys. These were like the 3 main bad guys from the story that me and my besties were making, the story that these 2 are from back here. And that's why we are giving a callback to the chess piece. So there's these 2, which they're whatever, they're good guys, slay. These are the baddies. And so I did a drawing of like a king chess piece kind of thing and just doodle around it, I guess, to like make the pages match, whatever. And this one's ugly. I like really hate this one. This is based on a Vocaloid song, and I don't know, I just got like really wacky with the colors. This is back when I didn't really plan my drawings. Don't know how I ever did that, but now I do like thumbnailing, and I'll do like sketching and stuff like that in a different book or like on scrap paper or something to plan my sketchbook pages. But during this period I didn't do that, and that would result in some pages where I'd be like, I actually hate this, and some of them would get trashed actually. But at this point I was getting like really frustrated with how long this book was taking me, and so I was just trying to kind of rush it, and so I left this page. But I really don't love it, but it's fine. Also my gel pen, like I don't know, something with my pink markers, my pink Prismacolor markers, it like really bleeds through. But then this was coffee, so I did washes of coffee for painting in the background, and then this is more newspaper doodles. It's like Korean newspaper. So, and then this was around the time, this is like October. This is when I very first learned what Inktober was, and so I was trying to like participate without really understanding like what it really was, I guess. And so I did a drawing of my blue-haired girly, like I designed a little witch outfit for her, which this is a recurring thing in my art even still to this day. I really love this like design for her. This is kind of outdated, but and then I did some of my favorite ghost Pokemon. This was like, had to have been not too long after Sun and Moon was announced, I think. Yeah, this was sometime in between like the announcement of Sun and Moon and then when it came out. This is was this the last drawing I did in this sketchbook? I don't work in order. I typically jump around. So this was either the last one or one of the last ones that I did in this sketchbook. And it's based off of pictures of my cats that they would like sit on the ends of my bed. I know this looks really glary. I don't know how well you can see it, but once again, this is me getting really lazy with their patterning. They don't look like this, but, and also lazy with like keeping their eyes closed. Like for Miss Girly over here, it makes sense, but for Miss Girly over here, no, it doesn't make sense. And once again, just adding random nonsense on the walls in the background, just trying to fill the space. But this one, I remember I was working with one ballpoint pen and then it died halfway through, and then I switched to a different one, and it like, when I sprayed it, I spray all my sketchbook pages with hairspray, like typically just like a high quality hairspray to kind of seal them in a little bit. And when I did it with this one, it just like changed the color of the ballpoint pens. That's why you have like part of it over here is more like grayish, and then this is like really blue, purpley, I don't know. So yeah, it got kind of messed up, but what can you do? This is a continuation of that stitching series, I guess, that I said I would start. So new character, love him, they're a couple. And once again, this is sewn in, this is food coloring, definitely food coloring in the background, and then everything else is marker, as always. And once again, kind of messing with thicker lines, even though this isn't like completely solid, I'm kind of doing a little bit more like scribblies around them. These pages definitely end up leaking into my other drawings of like, again, I really like doing thicker lines, but still pretty thin on like all these other ones. Just some mushrooms. This was based on like a pattern thingy that I had on like a cloth or something that I had gotten from a craft store, and I don't even remember what I ended up using that for. But yeah, this was like very heavily inspired by, it didn't look exactly like this, but it was like very similar. I remember I hated doing this one. It like took me forever. And then also a continuation of the like Zentangle mandala doodling situation. Actually, maybe this one's my favorite. I don't know. I know my least favorite for these. It's like, which one's my favorite? I do really like this one, but I also like the one with the black. I don't know. Using more watercolor, just kind of trying to like mess around, I guess, like figuring things out. I was testing this out because I had actually gotten another sketchbook that was watercolor, like all watercolor paper, and I knew I wanted to try using it at some point. So I was just trying to sort of mess with things and figure out like, okay, how do I play with watercolor? Spoiler alert, it doesn't work out great for me, but that's fine. We live and we learn. And then once again, this is more, I do think this one is watercolor this time, not food coloring in the background. Maybe it is food coloring. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell. It might be a mix. Sometimes I would also mix them. And then just sunflowers taped on top. Getting a little lazy. Again, this is kind of near the end where I was like, I just want to be done. Like, I'm so tired of it. This is based off of a building in Hongdae. I like took a picture of it. And I really like how this one came out. I remember when I was working on it at the time, I was like, oh, I like hate this and it's not going to come out good. And then I finished it and I was like, oh, I actually really like that. So great. And then this is just like based on like Maneki Neko cat stuff. Like I had a little Maneki Neko figure like this that I had gotten from San Francisco. And so just like doing illustration-ish type thing for it. But again, the thick lines are coming in. Slowly but surely, they're invading my drawings. Just doing some random doodling again. And this one is like whatever. I guess I just was like, I'm gonna draw butterflies and just like tape them in. I don't know. So yeah, this one's in marker. And I think at this point I was like fully switched over to using my Faber-Castells. So love them. They're very iconic. Oh, I love the colors on this spread. I don't like love the drawings themselves, but I love the colors on this spread. So this is based off of Bingsu. This is based off of a specific picture I took in Korea. Me and my friend went to Seoulbang over there a lot. And so this was based off of like one of the bowls that we got. It doesn't look like one for one like this, but I took some liberties. There were no blue cubes of something in it. And then this is me. This is another girly. She is supposed to be the sister of this guy. So he's like the older brother. She's the younger sister. So these were my three girlies together at the time. And this is where it kind of started. I remember liking this drawing when I first did it, and then I would look back and be like, oh, I'm not sure about it. Well, like it ends up leading into a style crisis a little later. But this was, these are lyrics from a Vocaloid song that I really like. And the border was a test for something my mom wanted me to do for the living room at the time. She wanted me to do this big like triptych drawing thing with a quote in the middle. And so this was kind of me like testing out, like, okay, if I did flowers like this and laid out the colors like this, composition like this, whatever. So it didn't come out looking exactly like this, and hers didn't have like the petals in there. I just added those to fill a little bit of the space. But once again, we're back with the pointy flowers, and I don't know why I'm that way. But even like despite that, I really like this spread. I don't know why. It's just pleases me to look at. So this is I created a new character, so now we're up to 6 characters, but I excluded my little black-haired girly. So this is all of them, because this was kind of supposed to be a continuation of like this idea. We do lots of callbacks in my sketchbook, all right? We do lots, oh, right here, where she's like a regular human and then they're dolls. So I was continuing kind of that like idea, I guess. And so it's the other 5 all as little dollies, and you'll see here in a minute, but these 2 go together. So yeah. And then this is me drawing my DS, another thing that I was like very late to getting. So I think I literally did get it in like 2017. I think I literally bought it so I could play Pokemon Sun and Moon. So I really like the colors on this one though. I'm like not a huge fan of this one, but this one I'm like, ooh, I like that one. And this is the final of the stitching ideas. This is probably my least favorite of them. I don't know, I just like, I don't know if it's the colors. I think it's maybe just that like with the pen, I got like a little too crazy. So it's just like the way I drew the flowers and did the pen. It's like not good. It's not good, but it's fine. And yeah, just same old food coloring, lyrics, marker. So, oh, and I tried to match like their outfits in different weird ways. And I feel like this one I did like kind of a wacky job on that, but it's fine, whatever. It's fine. This was based off of a little like plant holder thingy that one of my friends had in their house. And then this is me giving up and getting lazy and just like doing a doodle. But then like this also took me a long time. So is it really giving up? No, it's just causing more irritation for me. So, but I would do that a lot. Normally I try to like match my spreads a little bit better. So yeah, this to me, I'm like, I was giving up at this point. There's just like nothing going on here. But this is, I like really don't like the spread either. I'm kind of a hater near the end of this sketchbook. This is my least favorite of the circle doodles. Things just got like really muddy. I don't know if you can see, but some of the, like, I got really smudgy with using the pens and like the markers, and I just like wasn't as careful. I don't know. And then this is me revisiting an old drawing idea that I had in like one of my previous sketchbooks, where I said I had a bunch for middle and high school and I never finished them. I had done a drawing in one of my high school sketchbooks of my two girlies as like seafood, and it was inspired by Catalina by Orange Caramel. And so I did this girly as a shrimp, and then this girly was an octopus. And like these are upgrades from what their designs were before, but at the same time I'm kind of a hater of these as well. So, and I think it's just like, I don't know, if I had done more in the background that was like, oh, oceany, like seafood, whatever, I would maybe like it. But because it's like these random circles taped in, I just like, I don't know. I keep, this is one that I think back to all the time now, like 7 years, I guess, down the line, where I'm like, I really want to redo this concept, but I like want to do it justice. So I keep putting it on because I'm not like the best at character design. So anyways, and then it's the end. So this is me like revisiting the flowers in that one stitching page. I had really liked how they looked, so I just did like some random like flowers and hills, whatever type of drawing in marker. And then this is me redoing the like, or not redoing, but like visiting the font idea thing again. So this is on watercolor paper, and same thing, I like painted, right? Yeah, I did the text with a paintbrush, which like, I really like unsteady hands, I feel like, when it comes to art. So I have to move like super slow. I feel like I could never do this now. But this is a quote from the end of the Shelter music video by Porter Robinson. And yeah, I finished this on July 10th, 2017. So I was about 2 weeks shy of being 20. So listen, I have current sketchbooks that literally take me like 4 years to finish. So I like, realistically, I did pretty good on this one. So, but yeah, that's the end of my first sketchbook. Oh, sorry, there's so much glare. I don't really know what to do with that. It's just like, nope, there's no way to fix it. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If I have enough time, I'd like to get up like my next sketchbook tour as soon as possible. Like I said before, I have 12 books finished so far, and I have 7 that I'm currently working on if you count my art journal, because I did a travel journal for a study abroad experience that I had last year. So, but I work on it kind of in the same way that I do my sketchbooks, so I count it. This is like this is what makes me happy. This is like, for me, 80% of my enjoyment when it comes to art is like filling sketchbooks. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. I'm sorry it was so long. And yeah, I will see you hopefully in the next video. Bye.